Al-Qur'an, chapter 8. They ask you about the bounties. Say, the bounties are for God and the messenger. So fear God and reconcile between yourselves and obey God and his messenger if you are believers. The believers are only those who, when God is mentioned, their hearts tremble, and when his verses are recited to them, it increases them in faith, and they put their trust in their Lord. Established in prayer and thus provided they spend, those are the true believers. They have degrees with their Lord, forgiveness and generous provision. Just as your Lord brought you out of your house with the truth, and indeed a party of the believers are haters. They argue with you about the truth after it has become clear, as if they are being driven to death while they are watching. And when God promised you that one of the two factions would be yours, and you wished that it should be yours without a thorn, and God wanted to establish the truth with his words and cut off the roots of the unbelievers, to establish the truth and nullify falsehood, even if the criminals hate it. When you sought help from your Lord, then he responded to you that I will assist you with 1,000 angels following one another. And God did not make it except as glad tidings, and that your hearts might be reassured by it. And victory is only from God. Indeed, God is mighty, wise. When he covered you with drowsiness as a security from him, and he set down water for you from the sky to purify you with it, and remove from you the filth of Satan, and to bind your hearts and make your feet firm with it. When your Lord revealed to the angels, I am with you, so make firm those who believe. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. So strike them above the necks and strike every finger of them. That is because they disagreed with God and his messenger. And whoever disagrees with God and his messenger, then God is severe in punishment. So taste it, and for the disbelievers is the punishment of the fire. O you who have believed, if you meet the unbelievers advancing, do not turn your backs on them. And whoever turns his back on them on that day, unless he maneuvers to fight or aligns himself with a faction, then he has incurred the wrath of God, and his abode is hell, and what a wretched destination. You did not kill them, but God killed them. And you did not throw when you threw, but God shot, so that he might try the believers with a good trial. God is hearing, knowing. That is because God weakened the plot of the unbelievers. If you seek an offer, then the offer has come to you, and if you stop, it is better for you, and if you return, we will return, and your factions will not avail you anything, even if they are many, and that God is with the believers. O you who believe, obey God and his messenger, and do not turn away from him while you are listening. Do not be like those who say, we have heard, and they do not listen. The worst living beings in the sight of God are the deaf and dumb who do not understand. And if God had known goodness in them, he would have made them hear. And if he had made them hear, they would have turned away in aversion. O you who have believed, respond to God and to the messenger when he calls you to that which gives you life. And know that God stands between man and his heart, and that to him you will be gathered. And beware of a trial that does not in particular afflict those who wronged among you, and know that God is severe in punishment. And remember when you were few and oppressed in the land, fearing that people would kidnap you, so he sheltered you and supported you with his victory, and provided you with good things that you might be grateful. O you who have believed, do not betray God and the messenger, and do not betray your trusts while you know. And know that your wealth and your children are a trial, and that God has a great reward. O you who have believed, if you fear God, he will make for you a criteria, and he will atone for your misdeeds and forgive you, and God is the possessor of great bounty. And when those who disbelieved plotted against you to imprison you or to kill you or to expel you, and they plotted, and God is the best of planners. And when our verses are recited to them, they say, "We have heard, if we wish, we would have said something like this. This is nothing but myths of the ancients." And when they said, "O God, if this is the truth from you, then rain stones on us from the sky, or bring upon us a painful punishment." And God would not punish them while you are among them, and God would not punish them while they seek forgiveness. And why should God not punish them when they hinder them from the sacred mosque and they are not its guardians? Its guardians are only the righteous, but most of them do not know. And their prayers at the house was nothing but chirping and clapping, so taste the chastisement for what you used to disbelieve. Those who disbelieve spend their wealth to hinder from the path of God, so they will spend it, then it will be a regret for them. Then they will be overcome, and those who disbelieve will be gathered to hell. In order for God to distinguish the wicked from the good, and put the wicked one on top of another, pile them all together, and put them in hell, those are the losers. Say to those who disbelieve, if they desist, they will be forgiven for what has preceded, and if they return, then the tradition of the ancients has passed. And fight them until there is no crime, and their religion is entirely for God. If they desist, then God sees what they do. And if they turn away, then know that God is your master, an excellent master and an excellent helper. And know that whatever thing you gain, a fifth of it is for God and for the messenger and for the kindred and the orphans and the needy and the wayfarer. If you believe in God and what was revealed to our servant on the day of criteria, the day the two armies met, and God has power over all things. When you were on the nearer side of the valley, and they were on the farther side of the valley, and the caravan was below you, and if you had agreed, you would have not been able to hold the appointment. Whatever transpired was for God to decree a matter so that he who had to perish may perish by clear proof, and he who had to live may live according to clear evidence. Indeed, God is hearing, knowing. When God shows them in your dreams a little, and if He showed them a lot, you would have been paralyzed by fear, and you would have disputed about the matter. But God saved you from that. He similarly is all-knowing of all the breasts. And when He showed them to you when you met as little in your eyes, and He reduced you in their eyes, so that God might decree a matter that was decided, and to God things are returned. And you who have believed, if you meet a group, be steadfast and remember God often, so that you may succeed. And obey God and His messenger, and do not dispute, lest you lose heart and your strength departs. And be patient, for God is with those who are patient. And do not be like those who left their homes arrogantly, showing off to people, and barring from the way of God, and God encompasses what they do. And when Satan made their deeds seem fair to them and said, "Among the people today there is none to prevail over you, and I am with you," then when the two parties saw each other, he turned back on his heels and said, "I am ignorant of you. Indeed, I see what you do not see. Indeed, I fear God, and God is severe in punishment." When the hypocrites and those in whose hearts there is a disease say that their religion has deceived them, but whoever puts their trust in God, then God is mighty wise. So if only you could see when those who disbelieve die, the angels strike their faces and their backs and taste the torment of burning. That is what your hands have done, and that God is not unjust to the servants. As was the practice of Pharaoh's family and those before them, they disbelieved in God's signs, so God punished them for their sins. Indeed, God is powerful and severe in punishment. That is because God would not change a blessing that He bestowed upon a people until they change what is in themselves, and that God is hearing, knowing. As was the practice of the people of Pharaoh and those before them, they denied the signs of their Lord, so we destroyed them for their sins, and we drowned Pharaoh's family, and all of them were wrongdoers. The worst of beings with God are those who disbelieve, thus they do not believe. Those of whom you made a covenant, then they break their covenant every time, and they do not fear God. Either you educate them in the war, then disperse those behind them so that they may remember. And if you fear treachery from a people, then reject them equally, for God does not love the traitors. And let not those who disbelieve think that they are not helpless. And prepare for them what you can of strength and of a harness of horses, with which you will terrorize the enemy of God and your enemy, and others besides them whom you do not know. God knows them. And if they incline to peace, then incline to it and trust in God. Indeed, He is the all-hearing, the all-knowing. And if they want to deceive you, then God is sufficient for you, He who supported you with His victory and with the believers. And He united their hearts. If you had spent all that is in the earth, it would not have united their hearts, but God has united them. He is mighty, wise. O Prophet, God suffices you, and whoever follows you from among the believers. O Prophet, urge the believers to fight. If 20 of you are patient, they will defeat 200. And if there are 100 of you, they will defeat 1,000 of those who disbelieve, because they are a people who do not understand. Now God has lightened it for you, and He knows that there is weakness among you. So if 100 of you are patient, they will defeat 200. And if there is 1,000 among you, they will defeat 2,000. God willing, and God is with the patient. It was not for a prophet to have prisoners until he has subdued the enemies on the land. You want to offer the world, and God wants the hereafter, and God is mighty wise. Were it not for a book from God previously, a great chastisement touched you for what you took. So eat of what you gain lawful and good, and fear God. Indeed, God is forgiving, merciful. O Prophet, say to those of the prisoners who are in your hands, if God knows good in your hearts, He will give you better than what was taken from you and forgive you. And God is forgiving, merciful. And if they want to betray you, then they betrayed God before, so He enabled them, and God is knowing, wise. Those who believed and emigrated and struggled with their money and their lives in the way of God, and those who sheltered and helped, those are some of them allies of one another. And those who believed and did not emigrate, you have nothing of their guardianship until they emigrate. And if they seek your help in religion, then you must help, except against a people between whom and you is a covenant, and God is all-seeing about what you do. And those who disbelieve are allies of one another. If you do not do this, there will be discord in the land and great corruption. And those who believed and emigrated and struggled in the cause of God, and those who gave shelter and helped, those are the true believers. For them is forgiveness and generous sustenance. And those who believed afterwards and emigrated and struggled with you, they belong to you. And those of kinship are closer to each other in the book of God. God is all-knowing of all things.